Welcome to Superhero Brodowns with
Zach,
and Caden.
today we're going to be doing a brand new segment called Second Thoughts. It's pretty darn interesting.
Ooh.
And I think you guys will like it. So, Caden, you want to explain what it is?
Yes, I did not expect this. Okay, so what Second Thoughts is you all know in movies there's givens that everyone agrees on, you know, like this movie was amazing, this character did pretty well, you know, all those things. But what if we stop and then get ourselves a second thought? And what that means is that one person will be spinning this wheel, which has a bunch of statements on it from Marvel and DC movies, and whatever it lands on, you have to defend what that statement is, and try to convince the other person, and all of you lovelies watching, that whatever that statement is true.
Unfortunately, most of these statements are quite false. Statements such as, Hawkeye is important in the MCU, or
Batman v Superman is a masterpiece.
or that 2015's Fantastic Four was phenomenal. Very interesting topics, and we will be spinning. It is called the Wheel of
Slap.
There's no reason.
We just like slapping.
So, hey.
You can
so-
do the first defense.
So I will be defending today.
We just decided that now.
Alright.
So spin the wheel.
I'm actually kind of low-key nervous right now.
Really?
Oof. Suicide Squad was great. Of course it was. Best movie of the year. 2016,
so,
right?
I'll tell you this, though. We did do trial runs of these. Zach got the exact same one as he did before. He got that before during one of our first times trying this.
Yeah.
He got that exact same one.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't know. It's whatever. The movie was kind of bad in my opinion. It's alright. I don't care.
I mean, I didn't think it was phenomenal.
I thought it was pretty terrible, but I think it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
It
you
was
gotta
great.
stick with it.
It was great.
Alright, so since you are defending, I guess you may have the first statement.
Alright, so in my opinion, Suicide Squad was great, and the reason why, I think that, like, the character development throughout the film was very good with certain characters, okay? And
So you admit that not every character has great development.
Slipknot, alright? He was on the end for 5 seconds, and I think he was there for a comedic role, and there were certain characters that were there just to fill a void. But that is with any movie, correct? Almost all movies have that, and maybe they're setting up stuff for the future. We don't know what the DCEU holds for the future, right? But there were characters that were very well set up, such as Harley Quinn, such as El Diablo, such as the best character in the movie, I think, Deadshot. So I think Deadshot was amazing.
Let's consider the fact that one of the characters you did not list, and one that
Killer
should
Croc.
be on there listed, was the Joker. Obviously, he should have the main role in the movie, because he's the one that created the Suicide Squad. And so you admit that it's probably its most main character, who didn't even have that much screen time.
Hey guys, wait, fact check if that's correct, because I don't necessarily know if Joker created the Suicide Squad.
Well, he's
He was a core member.
He's the poster boy of the entire
I think he was a core member.
movie. But he doesn't even get that much screen time.
Right, but they also
it's
were...
Jared Leto.
Okay, alright. I think Jared Leto did a fine performance as the Joker in Suicide Squad.
You're saying that because you still haven't seen The Dark Knight, you don't know the best Joker.
Actually, no, I think Jack Nicholson still, I think he holds true. Anyway, Jared Leto did an interesting performance of the Joker, and something we've never seen. We haven't seen something like that ever. The way he did it, he's going to be. I think this type of Joker.
But this
portrayal.
You did admit that he did not have that much character arc.
No, he did not have that character arc. He was not part of the integral story of this film. But
yet
just because
he is one of the main faces.
Just because he is not just because he is not one of the people in the film for very much time, does not mean he's not an integral part of the story for this film, for later films, for Batman films, for any Justice League film. He could be a very.
So you believe that he's going to return?
Of course, he will return. He's one of the bigger characters.
As the same Joker. Alright, well, I for one don't believe that that's a possibility.
Why do you think that? Why do you think Jared Leto could not return?
Because I don't see it happening. Obviously, this...
You think Joker will never be in another DC
No,
movie?
not Joker won't. I'm saying that Jared Leto won't. I'm saying this Joker, obviously didn't go through with the fans as much as DC would have liked.
But just because it didn't go through doesn't mean they can't change the public opinion. They've done this with multiple movies. With like DC, they always they're trying to like fix their mistakes, correct? And one mistake in this movie, and I don't even think it was a mistake, Jared Leto did a fine performance as Joker. Okay, and some people didn't think he did very good. And what are they going to do? They'll eventually fix that. But just because he was not a huge part of the story does not mean that he's not a good character and not done well. What do you not like about Jared Leto's portrayal?
It seems a bit too, like, I don't know. It seems
gritty?
Like,
it feels gritty, which is like the type of
I
Joker that they're trying to do.
But, like, there's a point that, like, we all know that there's, if you're unaware of this, there are 3 Jokers. And if you know movie, like, based on the movies, obviously those 3 Jokers have been portrayed. And then you have Jared Leto's Joker, which, where does this even fit in? Is he a previous Joker? Is he a new one? That doesn't even, like, combine with what they've been setting up for this entire time. He is off base. He's a character that isn't even meant to exist right now, unless he is an older Joker. In which case, which one does he fit in with? He's an entirely different character.
You're saying that he's not necessarily like comic book canon.
I don't think that he's comic book canon at all.
Okay, well there are certain things though that we have changed in the comic books. I don't know exactly what portrayal of the comic book this is. Maybe someone from the like Batman Year Zero comic book. Maybe that's the portrayal they're going for, but I'm not exactly sure.
But comic book canon,
it doesn't matter. That's
one of the most important.
They changed canon though. Everyone knows.
But for the better. What is better about changing a Joker that we've known for a long time? There's 3 of them that they've played out this entire time, and so introducing a new one. How does that work for the better? Not only for them, but for the comic books.
Okay, so I don't necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to work better for the comic books because the comic books are not going to be affected by the DCEU movies. With Marvel, sometimes anyway. Okay. So, with this, like, with the Joker, I think bringing in something that you wouldn't expect, we're going into Suicide Squad, would you have expected a character like this?
I mean, not entirely, but to be fair, it is the Joker, what can you expect?
Exactly. So you didn't necessarily expect Jared Leto's performance to be as he did.
I mean,
which is a thing.
That doesn't mean that it's the best performance.
It doesn't mean that it's the best performance, but they will fix it. I'm not saying that Jared Leto had to be a great character. He wasn't in it very long, all right. But what they did do with him was new. It was refreshing. It was something different than what we've normally seen before.
Okay, well, how do you like? Let's also talk about how his design looks.
Okay.
The Joker design is very strange. Mm-hmm. Whenever has the Joker ever had tattoos, short hair, well, like, really buzzed short hair, like, grills, like, they overdone him as a gangster. Also, you have Harley Quinn, which turned out pretty good. Other characters...
Look at the other Killer Croc look. Look at the other character designs.
He has a hoodie on.
Killer Croc does? No, but think about the amazing things they did for Killer Croc. That was full makeup, okay? That was not CGI. That was amazing makeup. Name one of the other movies ever that has done... Like, that was some of the most incredible makeup work we've seen in a DCE movie, at least, to date, okay? So I think that was phenomenal work. Would you agree? It looked good for makeup.
The costume department probably had a day off, though. The costume department had a day off when they got to Killer Croc.
Whatever. I think every single character's design was good. What character was bad? Character design.
The Joker.
The Joker?
Because it's a very strange and out there
just because
Joker.
It's not comic book canon doesn't just because it's not canon.
Not even that. It's just why would they paint the Joker to be this weird gangster like?
Because the character is different. The look has to be different.
I feel like that's not. Why did they have to make him different? That was an unneeded procedure that they took. Again,
change.
Comic book canon is important.
Superman in the Man of Steel is different, right? Wonder Woman, all these characters that have done so far.
But
they're making characters that are.
That's a different example. Man of Steel, that was a comic book change that wasn't good. However, Wonder Woman, it had some changes into it that were for the better. That's why it turned out better than the other DC movies. And
this took some changes as well.
But we're not good. Like in Man of Steel, some changes are bad while some are good, and obviously these changes took the wrong turn.
Okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, so character design, right? I think the character design, like look-wise, I think the movie is interestingly shot. Like the opening time, like right when you open up the movie and you see the little character bios, and it's written in the cool font, and it's interesting, it looks good, and just the setup of the characters with like the little flashback. Like think about Deadshot, right? How cool did that intro look? You know, when he was he was doing his little intro. How cool did that look?
I mean, I won't argue that Deadshot was probably he was probably
Think
the
about
best
Will
part.
Smith did a phenomenal portrayal of the character. Margot Robbie, was that who played Harley Quinn? She did a phenomenal job as well. She played exactly what you would want in a Harley Quinn character. And just because Joker isn't necessarily, going back to that, just because Joker isn't exactly what you want doesn't mean he's what we don't need. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I feel like
maybe he's what we need for the future movies.
What
Maybe
role
they're
will he
setting
play in the future movies then? He's just going to play another villain role when there are other, you could do a better version of Joker or just a different villain we haven't seen in a movie yet.
Maybe they're going down the road of more like the Crime Syndicate with the guys in all the masks. He has the Joker, the Joker goons. You know, something similar to the comic books and similar to the original Jack Nicholson.
But why would they not go with newer villains other than the Joker? They've already had 4 at this point. Mm-hmm. You don't think that they're going to?
So you think they should? So at the beginning you were saying you thought Joker should have been a bigger part, but now you're saying he shouldn't be a part at all.
I'm saying that. Do you think they won't change? Do you think DC is going to stay the exact same characters? Do you think that's in DC's portrayal of what they want? It's not. That's not what I'm saying. That's what they should do. I'm saying that. Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't necessarily
these are
think
unrealistic possibilities.
I don't necessarily think that. I think they're going to bring in new characters because they have. They're going to bring something fresh and new to the table. But that's why they're bringing something fresh and new to Joker. Because why are they just going to keep it the same thing? They changed the Man of they should have done this. Okay, they realized they should have done this with Man of Steel. They realized that the character they shouldn't have shown the origin story. We've seen it. Okay, and they did something different with it, but it didn't work out. Correct. But they realized they needed to do something new. Same with Spider-Man. Look at Spider-Man: Homecoming. They didn't do the origin story. They did something new. Joker. They're doing something new. Okay, and I think this movie is a movie that is showing how DC is.
Then tell me, how were the changes that they made good in this one specifically, while the ones in Man of Steel were bad?
Okay, so necessarily with this movie they're changing up the characters a little bit more than in that movie. They were changing up more the plot setup, the idea of Superman. And they were changing it, maybe not necessarily the idea of Superman, but just his origin story a little bit. They weren't even changing his origin story. They were just doing it differently, and it didn't work out because it was a boring, gritty film. Was this movie boring in your opinion?
I thought so. Yeah.
Was there? Why?
To me personally, I thought
there was action. It was an entertaining film that had good moments in it. The moments.
But I still thought it was slow paced at times.
Yeah, there were slow paced moments. There were good family hearted moments. They were trying to build the characters, and think about the scene where they're in the bar. They're all talking, and you finally see this kind of they finally are coming together. And you also get this really great battle,
which is such a cliche thing for them to go through. What do you
want them to go through? They should have been a team from the beginning.
No, I don't think they should have agreed at all from the beginning to end.
So you think they should never work together?
I feel like that's a better dynamic for all these villains, is that they're constantly arguing instead of them finally coming together, because so it should just be a solo movie pretty much of 7 different characters. Is that what you're saying, that no character should never interact with each other when they're fighting? No, they should, but it should be more of an argumentative perspective. Name one of the DC villains, the Injustice League or anything like that, where they actually cooperated from beginning to end. They fall apart at the end, very quickly, even if they do agree at the start. They will constantly try to kill each other.
The Society of Villains, right? Is that what it's called? The Society of... fact check me, I'm forgetting. It's not rolling off the top of my tongue. Anyway, that team right there with Lex Luthor, it's from the original Super Friends, right? That team worked together because they knew they had a greater goal. This team, they realized there was a greater goal in mind. There was a family. They had people outside of just these few people. Deadshot, if he wouldn't have worked together with these people, he knew that there would have been a mass destruction on a global scale. And so they had to work together to make a better team, to save the world, to be the good guys that no one thought they were.
Why did they take this perspective of that? That's what they want. When have you ever seen these characters?
They don't necessarily want to be good guys. They still have human needs. Okay, they still want love. Harley Quinn
It's
wants.
such like a family-oriented ending, like, oh, everyone, deserves a chance to be good, everyone's fine, everyone's great.
Yeah, no,
you
no,
know?
no.
It's such a ridiculous ending
it's
for a movie
different.
that was originally action-based.
It's different than a film, correct? That is, it's different than a hero film where everyone already is the hero. It's good. It's refreshing to see these villains
But it's
realize that they are the heroes,
but
they still have villain in them. They're still villains. They have villainous
But it's
tendencies.
ridiculous
They
to
get put
see
back
these-
into jail at the end.
But it's ridiculous to see these villains basically live through a Finding Nemo story. That, everything is all family at the end. Oh, we all come together. Freaking starting the series of Seinfeld in jail. That's probably what happened.
Bro, that'd be I would rather watch that movie though. Like, being completely honest, if this wasn't the Second Thoughts, I would rather watch Seinfeld in jail than I would watch Suicide Squad.
Dude, next season of Seinfeld taking off when they got arrested.
A reboot?
Yeah.
Alright, so,
Is that your... would you like to cover the closing statements?
yeah, okay, so closing statement-wise, guys, I do think that, this movie, in my actual opinion, the movie wasn't phenomenal, right? But if I had to say it was, this movie did have interesting things to it that it brought to the table that DC did not have before. It had an interesting color palette sometimes, alright? It had interesting characters, and it also had very good portrayals, and the acting was actually pretty solid, okay? And, the special effects throughout were pretty alright, leading up to the end, which we didn't talk about. And I think the character design, I think it brought something fresh to the table, and I think that was what would make this movie great and artistic.
I believe that change is important for movies, obviously, but not all change is good. And this was not one of those cases. They made these villains become more like family-oriented. They were never meant to be the good guys. They were never meant to be, oh, we can become a family, we can be this great, group of people. They should have never cooperated in the first place, being perfectly honest. The characters themselves are way off base. They made Joker become this different character than none of us are even used to, and yes, there are 3 Jokers, but still, this Joker doesn't match any of them, and I think comic book canon should be something that should still be taken, directly head-on instead of just taking all of it and chucking it out the window, which is what DC has been recently doing.
Alright, so we hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure to vote for me in the little
But
icon.
it'll just say, what,
Who won?
well, I was gonna say, would you agree that it is,
Oh, yeah.
And it's
So-
just gonna be a yes or no.
Don't use your personal bias though, because we know it sucks. Well, some people
Wow.
some people actually did like the movie. All right, and if you like the movie,
Props to you.
yeah,
That's your opinion.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't have to dislike it as much as a few of us did. Anyway,
If you like this, comment and tell us that, yeah, this is a good series that we should keep up.
and if there are any things that you found were inaccurate in this, please let us know, because we're just doing this straight up this is all improvised off the top of our heads.
And
No
if you
script.
have any ideas for the Wheel of Slap, be sure to put them in the comments below. We always need new, ideas for these wheels. And remember, we are hopefully going to get back into a schedule pretty soon, and so you should stick around for Monday Movie Madness and Friday Night Fights. We'll see you next time, Nerd Folk.
Goodbye.